while, the whole internet kind of overlooked this, but there was this tiny little drama going on where LGBTQ people were trying to drive down the sales of Heartbeat RPG for what the significant other of the developer have said because they didn't like what they said. They haven't said super horrible things from my opinion, but I can understand how some people could take offense. They said that trans women aren't women, trans lesbians aren't lesbians, and that just because you inverted your dick, it doesn't mean that you can call that a vagina. So, yeah, I can understand how somebody holding a different opinion would get offended by that, but it's very weird to hold a person that didn't even say these words accountable just because they're in a family with the person that said the thing. And I also do not appreciate when people remove good works just because of who the author were. In March, this year, we had that little thing where Notch got removed from Minecraft All References and banned off Minecon because of things he said on Twitter. And as I said, I pointed out at this point, and I was in plenty of discussions at that point, that if a great artwork comes out of prison, or if Hitler made awesome paintings, should their work be erased just because who they were as people? It doesn't seem right for me, because I believe in furthering our technology and our art and spreading all the stories. It doesn't matter who the hell wrote them and what kind of people they were, because I view stories as stories. But a lot of people even back then said that yes, it does matter to them who wrote the story and what kind of person they are. And yes, some art should be censored just because of who the artist is. Which I don't actually understand that point of view. I really can't comprehend it whatsoever, but it's the point of view that people hold, where they liken the artist and their work of art as one and the same, and apparently they liken the artist's family to them, which is twice as dangerous, because you have to not only make sure that you don't say anything in public, you have to make sure that your family doesn't say anything in public whatsoever, because somebody could get upset and then they will try to censor you off the internet. Well, the good news is that trying to censor Heartbeat off the internet gave the opposite result. Over a week later, there was a lot of attention attracted to it. I actually knew about this tweet and was gonna talk about it a bit earlier, but I had my own health issues going on, and I follow a lot of people that are LGBTQ friendly, so I get these kind of tweets liked, and that's how they appear on my timeline. And just because I don't agree with absolutely everything that these people like and retweet doesn't mean that we can't have discussions on more normal and usual things. So yeah, imagine that. A person isn't a single opinion, though I don't know if they would have the same view of me. But yes, this time it didn't work. This time it didn't work, but I would really encourage us all to think about how we treat literally any public figure, even no matter how small, right now, because it isn't right. It isn't right that people are getting deplatformed for their own beliefs or the things that they say and getting fired from really important jobs just because they made a joke that was off topic, or just because they hold a certain belief that trans women aren't women, for example. Sure, it might be insulting to some people, but if this person was an astrophysicist, it would have nothing to do with their accomplishments or their inventions, yet their inventions would be taken out of history with the current outrage mentality. And that's really my issue with it. I don't apply this way of thinking to anyone that has a different attitude to me either. Like, if you believe that the world is non-binary and that binary genders don't exist, despite the fact that I will think that you're stupid, honestly. Despite that, if you don't put that in your game or in your book or in your work, I will not protest your work. I won't be your friend as a person, but if your work is brilliant, I will still appreciate your work as long as you let me appreciate it, which is another issue actually. Developers sometimes block certain people from filming Let's Plays off their games because they're not the kind of political people that they like, which is another can of worms. So essentially what I'm saying is both sides could do with disassociating people from what they do and just letting them do what they do. Just because you disagree with a person on a personal basis doesn't mean that their work should get deplatformed, especially if their work does not represent their opinions. Judge works by what they have in them. Don't judge works by the people that made those works. Because if we were applying this strategy for years, we would have been missing out on so many good video games. Like, for one thing, Will Wright, the guy that made SimCity and The Sims, he was known as being anti-gay. People said that he's a very homophobic person and very hard to work with. Doesn't matter to me. Didn't make me hate The Sims back then or now. And if his first game got deplatformed, we would never have the life simulation genre. SimCity got deplatformed. Imagine how much history that city builders would be missing. Wasn't the first city builder, wasn't the last, but it was a very prominent one for its time. So don't deplatform works just because of personal opinions.